Would you say your life is too crowded? Would you say there is much too much going on in your life? Would you say you're too busy? You just completed the weeks in preparation for Christmas. Were you very busy in your preparation for Christmas? This morning, Christmas morning, we think about that first Christmas morning, that first Christmas Eve. We think about Mary and Joseph. The time had come for their child to be born. And they went looking for a place for that to happen. And we're told that they went to the inn. And they were told that the inn was full. The inn was crowded. They were told that there was no room for them in the inn. So Mary and Joseph had to leave. And they had to go and find a place where there was space. And we're told that they found a stable. And there the child Jesus was born. And we're told that Mary laid him in a manger. And they were surrounded by the animals in the silence of the night. Jesus was born in utter simplicity. But there was no room for him in the crowded inn. And you see, Jesus wants to be born in our lives every day. He seeks to be born in you and in me every day, every moment of every day. And in a sense, every day, Mary and Joseph come knocking on the door of our lives. And they knock on the door of our life each day. And they ask if there's room for their child to be born. And very often we say, I'm sorry. My day is too full. My day is too full. My life is too busy. I don't have the time. There is no space. So Mary and Joseph move on. And in a sense, every day, Mary and Joseph, they knock on the door of our minds, the door of our intellects. And they're looking for space for their child to be born. But our minds are so busy. We have so many thoughts, so many things to think about. There's no space for us to think about Jesus. So he can't be born in our minds because our minds are too busy. And each day, Mary and Joseph, in a sense, they knock on the door of our hearts, seeking a place for their son to be born. And they knock. And very often our hearts are crowded. Too much going on. And we say, I'm sorry. I'm too busy. Come later. So Mary and Joseph move on. We live in such a busy world. Our lives are so crowded. There is so much activity. There is so much doing. And we live in an age of stress. There's tremendous stress in our world. Psychiatrists and counselors are kept very busy. And why is there stress? Because there's no space in our lives. They're too crowded. And there's so much anxiety in our world. People have to take drugs just to stay calm. And why? Our lives are so crowded. No space for the child to be born. And there's so much depression, so much loneliness. Why? Our lives are so crowded. There's no room in the inn of our lives. And it's interesting today, we're now hearing of a new problem that we never heard of before. There's a new term now. It's referred to as information overload. We never heard of that 50 years ago. But it's a new problem. Now with the computers and internet, we have information available to us on everything in an instant. So we have all kinds of information at our fingertips. And it's creating a problem. Our minds are too full of information. And we don't know what to do with it all. And it's not bringing us peace. Information doesn't bring peace. Information is very important, but it doesn't bring that inner peace. That inner peace comes from an encounter. That inner peace comes from an experience. That inner peace comes from an encounter with our God. That's what the spiritual journey is about. That's what the spiritual life is about. That's what the Mass is about. It's about finding that peace, finding that inner peace, finding that inner joy, finding that inner confidence, finding that inner hope. That's what it's all about. That's why Jesus was born. That's why he came down. To bring peace to the world. To bring us a peace that the world cannot give. And Jesus longs to give us that peace. He longs to give us that confidence. He longs to give us that hope. We must create a space for him. But our society is so full and so crowded. You see, the spiritual journey is a journey away from the crowded inn to the stable out in the wilderness. We must journey away from that crowded life. And we must find that stable within our being. We must find that stable, that space where Jesus can be born. And when we find that space within our being, our lives change. They change forever. And then we can return to the crowded inn. We can return to the busy marketplace. And we're not troubled by what we see, because we carry within our being the peace of the one who cannot be disturbed. Jesus wants to give us a peace, an extraordinary peace. He wants to fill us with that peace. He wants to give us a joy that's beyond comprehension. He longs to see us happy. And let him give us what he wants to give us. Because we listen to the TV set. We listen to the news. We listen to the bad news. And we don't listen to the good news. The good news is full of hope. It's full of life. It's full of vitality. It's full of consolation. It's full of everything we could ever want. And that's what Christmas is all about. Jesus was born in the silence of the night. He was born in a stable, away from that busy, busy crowd. He wants to be born in you. He wants to be born in me. But he can only be born in the silence of our being. And that's our spiritual journey. It's a journey into the silence of our being, where Jesus is born and where our lives are changed.